877-247-1581, 877-247-1581.
At Rocha Designs, we're more than just a laser engraving and specialty design company. Much more. I'm Ron Phillips, co-owner of Rocha Designs, and if you can dream it, we can probably make it. We can custom laser cut and engrave on nearly all material. Great for one-of-a-kind gifts, home decor, business and specialty items, or personalized and logoed designs created just for you or your company. Allow us to become your go-to gift and specialty project partner. Rocha Designs can help make your ideas a reality. We're ready to help you design and create that special gift for any occasion or engrave your personal or business logo on just about any product. View our designs at romicadesigns.com or simply email us with your ideas. We specialize in custom design and we'd be honored to have the opportunity to discuss it with you. Call us at 817-400-4040, email info@romicadesigns.com, or visit us on the web at romicadesigns.com.
Out of deck carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleveland, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleveland, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they've got you covered.
Hey travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
855-325-1820. 855-325-1820. That's 855-325-1820.
When you're hungry for tender brisket or some delicious homemade cobbler, then look no further than Leach Brothers Barbecue, located at 1106 East Henderson in Cleveland, Texas. Leach Brothers has been family owned and operated since 1950. Take it from me, Taco Joe Orwinski. Todd and his family have been filling my belly breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a long time. Heck, I even have my own booth, open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come see them for dine-in, carry-out, and all your catering needs.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, folks. I am Angelo Rocha. I am the host of Vet for Vets, a show where I interview and shine a spotlight on local Johnson County veterans and their families. Our special guests will reminisce and hopefully open up about their funny, wild, amazing, or emotional moments from their life before, during, and after the military. Today we have with us Victor Martin. How are you, Victor?
Good. How you doing?
Oh. Try that one.
You muted me. Oh, good. How you doing? It's all good. I can hear myself now.
Oh, is that much better?
Oh, I sound horrible. You got actually a pretty good voice for the radio.
Do you?
I like your voice.
Well, I don't know. No, Tiffany told me that that I should do the show, and I'm like, no, I'm usually in the background. I'm usually producing the shows, and she goes, just fucking do it. And I was like, okay, I'll fucking do it.
No, I'm glad you muted me in the beginning because I'm like, now I'm listening to my voice. I'm like, God, do I really sound like? Is this what my kids listen to?
That's why the kids have no respect for us because of the way we sound. So, Vic, where did you grow up?
Originally, I grew up in a very small town called Patterson, California, right off I-5.
California, a man can get out.
I know. I'm not gonna lie. I never like to admit that. I mean, so hear me out though. Before,
okay,
California is beautiful.
I've been there
the
many
landscape.
times.
It's nice. But after joining the Army and just seeing the world, you can really appreciate other places. And I knew that Texas, I just fit in. It was too perfect for me.
How long have you been in Texas now?
I got out 2020, so
Okay.
I'm still kind of new. I always tell everybody I feel weird calling myself a veteran still because I see these VSO guys.
You are a veteran.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I still feel fairly young. Like I feel if I was able to, I could put on some boots again and go lead a squad up a hill. Like I still feel I can do that. Right?
Yeah, we'll be talking about that in a little bit. So, so you grew up in, you said Patterson, California. Okay, so how was it like growing up?
It wasn't bad. I had my mom. Since she was single mother of how many of us? There's 4 of us, right? We originally grew up in San Jose for the longest time, but I really don't remember much of that because we moved to that small town. I think when I was about 12, going on 13. So I remember a lot of my memories of that small farming town, Patterson, California. And there was nothing much to do there. It's very rural. To give you an idea how rural it used to be known as the apricot capital of the world.
Okay.
Now it's only top 20 of the U.S. because the housings.
Nice.
But
gotcha. So how many brothers and sisters you said you had? You said you had 4. How many brothers and sisters were they?
You know what? I think I just remember I had 5. I always forget my little sister because I always forget her because she was like,
sorry, little sister.
Yeah, sorry, Crystal. But she was like 3 or 4 when I left to join the Army. So it's me and my 2 brothers, Noel Martin, Angel Martin.
Yeah.
My younger sister, Carissa, and my youngest, Crystal.
Oh.
But like I said, every time I go home, I'm always surprised because I just saw her last time. Unfortunately, it was for my grandma's funeral that we attended.
Yeah, you told me about that. I'm sorry to hear about that, by the way.
No, thank you. But that's the last, like every time I go home, I envision this little girl who's still in her diapers running around, but no, she's 20. She's going to kill me. Going on 21, I believe. Like, I think she just turned 20, but I'm like, oh, wow. Time has flown.
That's amazing. So you said, is your mom still alive?
Yes, my mom is still here. She's doing good.
Okay, so how was it like knowing that she was a single mom? Did your brothers and sisters just kind of help carry her, taking care of you guys?
Oh yeah, it was one thing. She relied heavily on my grandma. I'm such a grandma's boy. So this couple of weeks has been hard for me.
Aren't we all?
Right?
I miss my grandmother, my grandfather. I get emotional even thinking about them. That's how much I love them.
Oh yeah, I can't even watch certain Disney movies where the grandma dies.
Yeah,
I will cry.
Coco. Oh my God! I remember the first time I saw that movie, Coco. Man,
I told myself before I watched, Coco.
Yeah.
If my grandma ever passed away, I can never see that movie again, and I'm not going to watch it.
Don't watch Coco.
I don't want to.
Even if your kids even tell you to. Even if your kids would be like, Dad, come watch Coco, you'd be like, nope.
No. I know how it ends.
Shut that shit down. Shut that shit down.
Oh yeah, it gets to you.
It does.
But yeah, my mom was tough. She raised all of us. Obviously, I helped out a lot. I was babysitting my little brothers, little sisters when I could.
Yeah.
But we all worked together, and now I look back at it being a father, and I really, very appreciative of what she did. And as a kid, you don't see all the struggles, not knowing, are we going to eat the next day? And I'm sure my mom could probably tell us stories about that, how she made things happen. And it's just amazing to me.
Oh, so were you the sports jock or were you the book nerd?
I was the book nerd, but I was old reliable. Like I was that kid that my mom would parade around as like, he's so good. He never gets in trouble. He's always take care of his brothers.
Yeah.
Like I was just a good kid.
Really?
Yeah. Oh,
you never got in any trouble at all when you were a kid?
Eventually.
I remember starting a fire when I was a kid and the police showed up, but they let me go because I was so, sweet and innocent. And also I was crying like a little bitch. So that didn't help either. They were like, okay, just go home, just trying, being a little pyromaniac.
Oh
yeah. Yeah. Well, me and my friends were, bad influences back in the day.
And see, I always tell everybody, it was my brothers, because the hardest part being the oldest brother, you're going to get dragged into stuff you don't want to.
Nice.
I remember getting in a fight with a kid because he was picking on my little brother, but then I found out his big brother is my friend. And we're like, are we going to do this or are we just going to let them fight?
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of it was just, the little brothers.
So do you still talk to them all the time, your brothers and sisters?
I'm pretty close with my next brother over. We still talk all the time, even through my military career. He was always the one just hitting me up, and because we grew up together. Like I said, I remember my other siblings, but they were the gap between us we're all 3 years apart, so we were all into different things, But me and my middle brother were 3 years apart. We went to the same elementary, we went to the same middle school, we went to the same high school.
Just everything, yeah.
At one point in time, we were in the same English class in high school because I failed freshman English apparently, and they just let me progress, but then they caught it my senior year, so they made me retake it. So I was with them. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
What are the chances?
So, what kind of? So you're growing up. You're a senior in high school. You have no idea what you're going to do with your life. What made you decide to join the military, especially the Army?
Okay, so that's the best part. I forgot about this, but this goes back to my elementary.
Elementary school.
Yes, so I'll never forget it. Me and my brothers, we would take the bus home because my mom would be work and she'd give us some money. We get on this public bus, not even the school bus, the public bus, pay our money and go.
Yeah, the little bing bing.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember.
And there was a stop sign. We'd always wait there. Well, there was this kid and my little brother, the one I'm close to, he learned the word fruitcake as an insult. So he was just calling everybody
what was
that
the
day.
word? What was the word fruitcake? Is it in a different language or just fruitcake?
The fruitcake.
Oh,
He just
okay.
picked that up.
Like
and
numbnuts.
yeah, people were just calling everybody
Yeah.
fruitcakes at that
Yeah.
time period. And to me, I was like, whatever. So this kid rides a bike and he calls him a fruitcake. And the kid like looks at us and he rides off. And I didn't think nothing. We're still waiting for our bus. Kid comes back with a crowbar.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. I was like, okay, we're not winning this. Let's run. Right. So I take my youngest brother. He's, I want to say kindergarten at the time. So we're taking, I'm not fast. My middle brother's the most athletic out of all three of us. So he's already taken off. He started the fight and he ditched us.
Yeah.
So we're running through all these apartments, going through the back, trying to ditch this guy.
Yeah.
Well, we finally get cornered. There's this fence we can't jump. We can't go under. We can't go over. There's nothing. We're like stuck there. We're stranded. Then you see the kid come in with his bicycle, with his crowbar, ready to beat the crud out of us. And there's this dude. And I knew, I want to say he's a Marine because I do remember like the little Marine logo. That's my vivid memory. He's just smoking a cigarette on the porch of the apartment. He's kind of watching the whole thing transpire. And the kid comes up with the crowbar and he's probably within now 15 feet of us. And the Marine guy just gets up and says, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing?" Scares the kid instantly. To me, it looked like he jumped down 2 stories. I'm sure he just hopped off the porch, but you're little, you're scared, you don't remember.
Everything's big. Yeah.
He comes down, he squares up, and that kid, he takes the crowbar, launches the crowbar in the trash can. That kid runs. I'm like, well, that dude's a badass.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I was like, man, military is pretty cool. And I would see them a lot in the schools when they'd come and do their visits.
Yeah, I hated the military guys when they used to come to my high school.
Oh, yeah?
I hated it
I
because I was like, no way, no matter. This is before I gained a respect for them while I was in high school. But when I was first in high school, I didn't really care much about the military. Never even planned on it until I started thinking about what they did for our country. Once I started learning history and stuff like that.
That's like, so I got that. I was like, I really like them. I appreciate it. I knew my mom at that time, no way in hell would let me go because I had entertained it, but she'd be like, no, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't in her. She didn't even want to think about
pre
that.
or post 9/11?
So 9/11 hasn't happened, but it's about to.
See,
so I start getting all the things, and I'll never forget freshman year, it happened. And I remember I used to walk to school and I saw the planes. And again, I'm a kid. I don't really, get it. I just see the planes crash. I literally thought it was a movie. Right. And my mom, she's kind of paying attention to it, but I don't think she was or maybe she was just hiding it from us. But we get to school and, it's all over the thing, the announcements. Mr. Klein, our old freshman health teacher, he's just in shock because I think he had a son who was in the Army at the time. So he's like tearing up and, you just get all these feelings. And I remember at that time, like, man, are we really that defenseless? Like it was stuck in my mind. I think even the first day, I think I was so scared that night I cried myself to sleep.
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
I was like,
damn.
What if they can just kill us? Like, what do we do? We're all defenseless. And I remember going through that because I think I did ask my mom, I'm like, would a terrorist attack us? And she's like, no, this is Patterson. And I think she meant that in the nicest way.
Everybody overreacted after 9/11. Everything, like hospitals were putting barriers in front of the. It's like, really, do you think a terrorist is going to pick this random bodunk little hospital in the middle of Timbuktu, America? Everybody was just overreacting back in the day. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but then the gears are turned. Like I said, I would see the recruiters come in school. I would read history. I'm like, oh, that's pretty
they
cool.
amped up big time because they knew we were going to go to war. They wanted the recruits. They wanted new people.
We started watching Band of Brothers in my history class. It was sophomore history, and that's super cool.
Yeah,
that's when it clicked.
Yeah, Band of Brothers. That's a great show. Really great show that kind of shows the camaraderie and also the conflict between the soldiers too, because not everybody had the same mentality. Because you have the two types of people. You have the people that stay and fight, go towards the firefight, or you have the ones that go run and hide, behind a brick or behind a wall or behind a little bunker.
Then take credit for it.
Yeah, and then take credit for it. Oh, I've had that happen too in the military. You've had guys who claimed, a heroic acts of, heroism when it wasn't even them. It was somebody else.
Oh yeah.
So
absolutely.
So you were growing up in high school. You kind of knew you were going to be joining the military, but what was your actual true influence to join the military, other than this young kid when you were a little kid?
Well, honestly, I think another big thing too, I forget, I grew up fatherless, didn't have a dad. So everything was self-taught for myself. So I always felt that I was lacking something, some kind of discipline, some kind of, direction, some kind of purpose. And I always seeked out, but I never got it. And I remember, so I got out of high school. My mom was really hard on like, you need to go to college, you need to do this, blah, blah, blah. I'm 17. I graduated early. I'm in a rebellious phase. I just want to do my own thing. And it just kept clicking. And I think it was literally the recruiter seeing them there and just, they're able to do whatever they wanted. Like they just seemed so sure of themselves. They'd walk in, chest out, chip on their shoulder. They would talk to you. They treat you like an individual. And it just kind of just kept slowly going. I wouldn't join right after high school. I would end up working for a little bit part-time job. And then eventually I was like, dude, what am I doing with my life? I'm here bussing tables. I was a waiter. I was like, this is dumb. I want something exciting. I don't want to be Victor Martin from a small town Patterson that never leaves. And then I'm just going to be stuck here.
Why Army?
Oh, that's a good question. So originally, like I said, I still have that whole thing about the Marine. I was super interested in the Marine Corps. Like I thought that was like super cool. But then I started doing some research. I went to go take my ASVAB, talk to them. And at that time, I really wanted to be military police. So I'm talking to the Marine Corps and he's like, well, I can't really, tell you, but, you may be able to get in. And he sounded very unsure. Maybe I just got a bad recruiter. So it really turned me off. So I was like, you know what? I'll go in again. So I went to go talk to a different Marine recruiter because there's a couple in the next town over, but he was never there. And finally, it was just one of the Army recruiters. They're always there. I was like, you know what? Let me talk to the Army.
The Army guys are always there.
They're always there. So I talked to the guy, and I'll go back to him because he's a funny story. Staff Sergeant Esmenda, I still remember him, Samoan guy. But I start talking, and he's like, really? You want MP? And he's like, I'm infantry. He's like, I'm not going to persuade you. I
can't say nothing. I was an MP. So
oh, really?
I completely understand.
He's like, I can't persuade you, but, you really want to do an MP? I'm like, absolutely. I took my test. I had the scores. I was great. I was one of those. I was a recruiter. So this is an old recruiter joke I'll tell, and I'll get to it eventually. But anybody, normally 9 times out of 10, if an applicant walks into the door to join the service, they're unqualified. They have something they're running from or just not. I was that golden unicorn that walks in, is perfectly qualified, ready to go, knows what he wants to do, meet all the requirements. So I was just that like, oh my God, it never exists. But anyway, he took me through the steps. He helped me get through MEPS. I ended up not picking MP just because when I was talking to the guy next to me, we went to MEPS together, and his dad was infantry. His grandpa was infantry. So he's just telling me stories of why he wanted to join. And he had got out. He was 25. The guy was older than me. But he's like, I'm here. I'm, working on cars. I'm not getting anywhere in life. He's like, all my parents do is like, I want to see what it's about. And it just really motivated me. And I was like, you know what? I want to do infantry.
That's infantry seems to be where a lot of these guys head to whenever they can't decide what they want to do. Carrying on about the infantry. So you join, you're going to be an infantryman. Did you this? So my question is, why did you join the Army for infantry, not anything else?
So that's a good one. I remember in the very beginning asking myself, because there's one time I'm like, am I really joining the Army? You get the butterflies in the stomach and everything. And the biggest thing that I remember, and I tell this story to my kids all the time, is so my mom, she was born in Mexico. My grandma came over, brought the family over, did it the right way. It took my mom, I'll never,
right way.
The right way.
Great.
I'll never forget. I was a fresh sophomore in high school, and my mom became a citizen. And I'll never forget the joy, because we all went with her, and we're outside the courthouse. And if people don't know, taking the test to become a citizen, my mom would ask me as a sophomore in high school, and there's stuff I didn't even know. It's pretty tough.
It's made. I've taken that test, and
really?
I became an American citizen. Yeah, it's 100 questions. The first 10 questions is all they want you to answer. It's typical easy questions. The first 10, like, hey, how many stars are in the U.S. flag? Who's the first president? Who's the 16th president? Who's the current president? And then you get to like the 20th question. What's the 26th president? What are the 3 houses? What are the 3 chambers of the government? And all of a sudden they start asking you things that are really completely, they don't care about that. If you know them, that's great. But all they want you to do is answer those 10 questions that make all those 10 questions pretty much gives them the go ahead. Hey, they seem like they've already assimilated, because that's all they're really doing is they're looking at you. They're looking to see if you've actually assimilated to the American way of life. Once you start talking about the current president or the previous president or the vice president. That's how they know. And then they usually give you a pass or a fail. Because you can have all your 100 questions passed, but if they don't get that feeling like you're going to be a really good, upright American citizen, they still won't pass you because it's a yes or a no by the person giving you the test.
That's crazy.
So, and a lot of people don't know that.
But again, I remember my mom coming out. She's in tears. She's so excited. We're out
I
there
was super
clapping.
excited. I know exactly how she
And at
feels.
that time, and at the time, I didn't know, but it made me happy seeing my mom excited. Like I can't imagine the work she put in. So then that's, like I said, I've been thinking it a long time. And I started thinking to myself, okay, my grandma came. She has 9 kids. She comes from a big family. I was like, this country has given us the greatest opportunity in the world. But what have we done for this country? And I started asking my mom, and at that time, nobody in our family had served. And I was like, wow, at the time I'm still searching.
Are you sure you're not my cousin? Are you some kind of like distant cousin? Because everything you're saying is everything
we're Hispanic.
how I'm feeling.
It's kind of scary.
It's possible.
I don't know my dad, and I've heard stories that my biological father was out and about all the time. So
really?
But I regress. But yeah, so I was like, no one ever gave anything to the country. I was like, here I am searching for a purpose. I've always wanted to do it. Why not bring honor to my last name? That way, at least I can leave a legacy. At least at the end of the day, seeing my mom be so proud that we know the opportunity we got. We gave back to this country and we keep honoring it.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you're in basic training. Where'd you go to basic training?
Oh, Fort Benning, Georgia. That is
all infantry.
That's the home of the infantry.
That's literally the home of the infantry. That's true. So, how was your time in basic?
Oh, it was exciting. I used to make jokes growing up and telling people like I think my mom's a drill sergeant, low key, because no, my mom was very strict when it came to like cleaning,
That's how
discipline.
You have to be when you're a single mom and you have 4 kids that you gotta kick in the ass. Hey, get your ass up for school.
Yep,
every morning.
God bless her. No, and so my mom was the type like she would tell you make your bed in the morning, put your clothes away in your drawers, blah blah. If your stuff wasn't put away and she beat you home, she's flipping your mattress.
Oh, just like a Marine Corps.
So
the Marine Corps did that. The Army did that.
That's why I laughed on the first, I think the first or second day of basic, where we come back and everything is thrown everywhere.
Oh, that's nothing.
And everyone's crying. Well, that's the thing. Oh, you have grown men crying like,
yeah, I know.
My stuff is everywhere, my pictures. And I'm just chuckling. And everyone's like, it's so funny. I was like, my mom used to do this.
Yeah,
like it was, I had such high expectations that like there were some parts that met it, but the first time I felt like I was pretty prepared for it.
Yeah, I always hated that when the bunks would be flipped over during boot camp. Oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure, I'm not gonna lie, I think I only slept on that bed once. Once I made it, I would just sleep on the floor.
Oh, nice. So you go through AIT because I know infantry, because one of my previous guests says infantry also do the AIT together all in one.
You never leave that bed.
That's right. So where is your first duty station?
Okay, so graduate basic, first duty station, Fort Drum, New York.
Fort Drum? Wow, all the way up there.
California to New York. I always tell her, but the Army just likes to keep me uncomfortable.
Did they talk shit to you when you're up there?
Oh, that's why I'm used to it. When people are like, oh, you're from California. I'm like, hold up.
You don't have the voice of a California, because most Californians I know have the weird California, like, hi.
Well, I used to talk a lot slower. I used to be like, what's up, bros?
What's up,
Mondo,
man?
cool. I think the Army really neutralized my accent. Because it's fun when people.
It's the same with me, because I used to have a really thick Jersey, Portuguese, European accent, but I kind of lost it over the years. So people are kind of caught off guard that I speak like decent English. And it's like, no, I swear to God, the Army did that. Because when you're in the military, especially when you become an E5 or higher, you go to, the advanced schools, and all of a sudden they teach you how to scream at walls. They teach you how to scream at trees. They're trying to get you to be vocal and getting
in front of people.
Yeah, speaking in front of people. And then eventually get to a point where you just speak clearly and don't have the accent. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 100%. I agree with that.
Oh, nice. So you go to, okay, let's go kind of slow things down here. Did you have a fun time in your first duty station?
So that's I love Fort Drum, New York, light infantry. I'm going to go on to my rant about mechanized. I love mechanized infantry, but there's just so much more work into it. Light infantry was so much simpler looking back at it now. But it's funny because I remember going basic. My mom actually came to see me graduate, which was really cool. She drove. I think she flew with my younger brother, who I'm really close to, Noel. They flew. They saw me graduate. It was the coolest thing ever.
Were you surprised that she actually showed up?
100%. Because like
I'm telling you, I swear to God, you're my cousin, because that's what my family did too. They drove all the way from New Jersey all the way to Kentucky for Fort Knox, my basic training, which was surprising to me because I didn't think my dad even knew how to drive past New York State.
Well, like I said, I didn't expect it because like I said, my mom, that was the last thing she wanted. I remember breaking her heart when I joined. Like she didn't want me to. She cried. Yeah. She even told that recruiter, like, She's like, as long as he gets a safe job, he doesn't deploy. You know,
Infantry is the worst job you can get.
Oh,
They're
I
the
know.
most highly deployable unit in the military.
what's fun? I get
All
to
the
I get to
services.
Fort Drum, and they were at that time period. This is now fast forward. This is 2007. I actually graduated on a leap year, February 29th. So technically, I was only in the Army like 3 years, if you want to be a smart ass. But or 4. But so I get to Fort Drum. About 6 weeks later, I deploy. Oh, my mom was
that's
not
a-
happy.
I bet she was.
And because that recruiter, she would see at the schools all that. Oh man, he would tell. I would later on go back and do the hometown recruiting.
Yeah.
After that, and he would just tell me stories like, "Dude, your mom was here every day. Like she was just giving me mean looks. Like I can feel her through the wall." I'm like, "Yeah, that's my mom."
Do you have any fond memories that you can think of when you first joined the military before you went to deploy to Iraq or Afghanistan?
Like
which we're
basic
gonna
training.
Yeah. Did you have not basic, just in general? Did you have any stories that you want to share with us that so the Johnson County locals know what kind of life you had?
Like I said, my mom did good. We had a really good life. You know, it wasn't too bad. You know, I had my brothers, my sisters with me. Normally stayed out of trouble for the most part. My really good friend John, he would join the Army after me and become a military police, which is ironic but weird at the same time. He followed through.
Son of a bitch, you stole my job.
He did. But I always tell everybody we're polar opposites because he got out and he's a different person now. Love him to death still. We don't talk much anymore, but he had a hard time, really hard time.
I understand where he's at.
Yeah.
When I was an MP, I had a hard time dealing with the stuff that went on, especially when you have to deal with these young kids who are unstable. These young kids who have no idea what they're doing. They do some of the stupidest shit that you can think of. You know,
I know.
If there's a curfew, you got to be here by midnight. They show up at 1 and 2 in the morning, butt ass drunk. They don't even know where they're at, and all of a sudden you're like, "Dude, you freaking dumbass piece of shit! What the hell's wrong with you?" Seriously, then you got to grab them literally by the collar, a full-grown man, 21, 22-year-old man by the collar, and then drag him to the MP jail.
That's
and
then
their life is ruined because it's like,
Yeah.
dude, you know the rules, but somehow you don't want to listen.
And it's always hard, but that's the hardest part of being an NCO, and we'll get to that eventually, is making that call, because it could be a first-time offense, a great kid, but he did something so outlandish, and that if you don't, the rest of the platoon's going to see, and they're either going to lose respect for you or they're going to do something just as worse. And like then you're like, oh man, all this paperwork, I'm going to lose my best guy, even though he made one mistake. Like being an NCO, people don't understand, is an extremely hard job. It's becoming,
It is.
it's like being a dad to a bunch of kids.
It's the most stressful job.
100%.
As soon as you go and become a non-commissioned officer, which is what NCO stands for, if you don't know military terms, it'd be the stress of having to make sure your soldiers don't get hurt, don't get killed while they're, especially when you're overseas and deployed. So how many people would you say were in your platoon when you were in the military?
Our infantry platoon is pretty standard, about 20 to 30 people, depending. In the beginning, I would say like, it's weird because my last unit, Alaska, we were small. We're scraping together. We had like 19-man platoons, but most of the time we're pretty filled, pretty 30. You know, we had 4 squads. You always had your 3 typical squads with your weapons or heavy weapons. However that platoon ran its.
Anybody stand out in your mind?
Oh, Sergeant Little. He was my first one of my first squad leaders back.
Was he little?
No.
Kind of figured. It's always ironic, ain't it?
He was ripped. Just to say he belonged in Hollywood. He was just perfect. He was an Army Ranger. He somehow got assigned to us. You know. Now he actually, I think he just stopped a couple years ago, but he was jumping out for the Golden Knights.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, super cool guy. But he really stuck up to me because he was always just like about doing the right thing, pushing yourself. Like that was his thing. He's like, hey, you know, you want to be good, you got to look good, but you got to do the work to be good. Like you can't just show up. And he just installed that whole like keep driving. That dude, every time I would do something like, what was Sergeant Little do? What was Sergeant Little do? Is my uniform look good? Like that dude is always in the back of my head.
So that's one of those people that kind of stuck with you. So would you consider him your mentor?
Not yet. He was just the first person like out of regular army that I met that was very like, I want to be like him.
Okay.
Right.
There's usually that one person in the military you look at that as you serving, when the first couple of years, you're like, you know what? I want to be like that dude.
Oh, and I got him. You're gonna laugh when we get to it. In a second.
You know, like they're the ones that always pass the PT test with the perfect score.
Perfect score.
Always shoot really great at the rifle, and you're like, you know what? I want to be like that guy. I get you. So,
remind me when we get to it. But I do have one. I have a great platoon sergeant. He's now a command sergeant major. I want to shout him out when we get there. But remind me when we get there.
We're going to be talking about your deployment. We're going to be talking about your life Iraq or Afghanistan? Because you didn't actually tell me how many times you were
Oh,
deployed.
yeah.
So that's what you're going to tell me and how many years you actually served. So, all right. Please stay tuned. This is Angelo Rocha with Vet for Vets. This is my friend here, Victor Martin, an Army sergeant, former veteran who still doesn't believe he's a veteran, but he is. Stay tuned and thank you for listening.
Accelerated Graphics and Signs, 101 East Renfro, Suite C in Burleson, Texas, can handle all of your graphic needs. Need a banner or promotional products for your business? They got you covered. T-shirts and caps for your group. All you need to figure out is if you want them screen printed or embroidered. How about some slick graphics on that hot ride to make you stand out from the crowd? Accelerated Graphics and Signs can handle anything you throw at them. Located at 101 East Renfro Street, Suite C in Burleson, Texas, go in and see them. Call them at 817-991-0523 or reach them on the web at www.acceleratedgraphics.net. They are loud and proud and want to serve you. Accelerated Graphics.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379 or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
Welcome back. This is Angelo Rocha. I'm here with Victor Martin, and you're listening to Vet for Vets, where I talk to local Johnson County veterans so that way you get to know them, who they are. You might see them everywhere. You might see them in a Walmart, Target. You might see them at a local grocery store just shopping with their family. And yeah, this is pretty much what I do, and I love it. Thank you, Tiffany, for allowing me to introduce Johnson County to all our veterans. But before we continue on to our second part, I just want to mention that Johnson Community Radio, or JOCO Community Radio, is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas. And we are live 24/7 on the TuneIn Radio Network. TuneInJoco.com. That's TuneInJoco.com. That's the place to find all the ways to listen and watch. And the station app is also free. Yes, free, and is available on all Android and Apple devices. Simply search your store. Check out our lineup and more at jococommunityradio.com. This episode and more is brought to you by Patriot Claims, making your insurance work for you. Reach out to your Texas sales rep at 844-TEX-HAIL. That's TEXHAIL, not HEL, double hockey sticks. So I don't want to mention that. But anyway, that's 844-839-4245. Also, be sure to dress your arms and more at thetiffy.com. That's THETIFFIE. That's actually Tiffany Carlin's actual store. So, and she sells incredible stuff there. I highly recommend you go to that website. If you haven't done it already, do it now. I tell you, do it now. Okay, so let's talk about your life in the military. You're at home, you're chilling, you're watching Netflix. All of a sudden, you get that phone call. Hey, guess what, Victor? We're getting deployed. What are your first thoughts about that?
Oh man, every time you get that phone call or you see it coming up, you're just like, man, we got to train all these dudes. Hopefully, in the back of my mind.
That's what you're thinking.
Oh.
I gotta train him. No, man. What were you actually thinking?
No, really, the whole time.
My wife, my kids, my family.
It
my
really
mom,
no, I don't even think. I'm just like, I got trained on. In the back of the mind, I'm already running through the scenarios. I'm like, all right, because there's sometimes, and it's happened. Soldiers lose equipment, they lose gear
all the time.
And I'm there big thinking, I was like, okay, did we ever get his rucksack back after we
ever kick any of them in the ass? Just like, you shit.
You're just yelling at them. I was like, I would lay them out, and then within them packing their stuff up and putting it back in their room, they would lose something. So the back of my mind, I'm ready. Every time you get that call, I'm just prepping. Like, okay, are we good? Okay, cool. I have no issues. Cool. I got to break it to my wife. Let me tell her. And I'll normally tell her. She's normally very cool with it. Obviously, she worries. She stresses. I'm sure there's other things she would love to talk about from her perspective. But at the same time, I always just kind of like, I try to keep it as it's not a big deal. It was just a lot more calm.
I tried to do that, but when you have the mom or dad of a soldier that you're pretty much in control of, and you kind of have their life in your hand, it's kind of tough to kind of hold your things together because they're coming at you crying, please bring my son back, please. And it's tough. It's really tough. They don't know. It's very stressful.
Oh no. And like I said, my first deployment, I was just, we deployed within 6 weeks of getting there. We'd even I remember checking in, and I was actually supposed
to imagine going somewhere 6 weeks. God damn.
Well, it's crazy because I remember walking in, and a lot of us who graduated basic, we all went to the same duty station. We'd end up being in the same platoon, same squad. So I knew all these guys because we grew up together, Army wise. But I'll never forget, we're in the in-processing center coming in, and there's some staff sergeant right in the doorway, and we're walking in, and he's like, "What's your MOS?" I was like, 11 Bravo, and he had the stamp, Go here, go here. And he was just taking all the combat arm guys.
Oh my goodness.
And and then we just deployed right off the back. We had no idea.
So where did you get deployed to the first time?
First time we went to Iraq.
We're at in Iraq, where you guys basically stationed, I guess you can call it. I guess you can say combat zone.
In the very beginning, we got a very cush detail the first couple of months. And I always tell everybody, I didn't know how cush it was until later on I grew up. So we're in Camp Victory. And at that time, it's established in the middle of Iraq. We're attached to one of the generals. What are they called? PSD units. So we were just securing the general back and forth, going up and down. We had a couple of routes, a couple of patrols. We had stuff happen to us, but it was not like I always tell everybody. Everyone always asks me, and I hate explaining it to people because everyone's like, weren't you scared of your first firefight? And I tell them the straight up answer is like, honestly, my first firefight wasn't anything like the movies. I literally had no clue what was going on the first 5 seconds.
Yeah, because the bullets zooming by, you don't know where they're coming from.
Ours was middle of the night. It's about 2:30 a.m. We're coming back in. Everyone's tired. We've been out there pulling security. Nothing happened. And all I hear is ding, 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 ding. And it literally, what I thought it was, because at that point in Iraq, it was kind of wintertime. I thought it was just the rain hitting the up armored Humvee. And I'm a gunner, mind you. And I just hear things pinging behind me. I'm just like, oh, that's rain. That's cool. And we're within maybe a mile and a half away from the base. We're not even that far out. And then all you hear is from truck 3, they pull up like, hey, your truck's getting hit. We see tracer rounds.
Yeah.
And then my lieutenant, I was the lieutenant because we're in truck 1. He's like, hey, are you getting hit? And I was like, I don't hear it. And then I just hear, boom, and I was like, yeah, we're under contact, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So the first, we're oblivious, but we ended up rolling out our Humvees toward Little City. Some dude was shooting from us on the top of a town. Dismounts rolled down. My truck, unfortunately, my first firefight, I was kind of out of the fight. We had the main entrance blocked off. Dismounts went in, kicked the door out, found the guy. And that was pretty much it. It was over super fast. I was kind of over and underwhelmed because when I first deployed and we're doing our left seat, right seat ride with third ID, the first thing the gunner tells me, he's like, oh, you're going to have fun. You're going to get your CIB quick. He's like, we just took sniper fire yesterday. No big deal. They were just playing it off, but they had been there. And that's another thing people don't understand. When you're deployed, after it's the first 3 months, you're hyper vigilant. You're ready to go. You're anxious.
Yes, fully aware of your surroundings.
But the last 3 months, you're just like, well, a mortar round landed in the DFAC. I guess I can't get my lunch today. That sucks.
Yeah, you just get upset that you can't eat your food because it's like, oh, I got to go under a bunker again. Good Lord.
And that's how those guys were. So when he said that to me, I'm like, oh my God. So my first weeks, I was always pumped out going out the gate. Okay, we're going to,
Some guys will like that.
Oh, I always tell everybody, you are scared shitless. And I hate when people are like, oh, I was always ready. I'm like, no. I seen grown men bigger than me freak out. Our lieutenant did not want to get out of the Humvee. He had to get drugging out of the Humvee. It's like, sir, you need to be down on the ground with the dudes.
Yeah, you're the leader here.
You're the leader. And, I'm just a young private on a 240. I just want to shoot something.
Yeah.
Bad
Hey,
enough if I'm-
Victor, I just want to mention, if I cut you off, by the way, just tell me, so that, because I have this tendency as you're talking, I might cut you off mid-sentence just because I want to get onto more questions and stuff. But if I do that, just tell me.
Oh,
okay?
it's all good. It's all good.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, so like you're out there and you're ready. And then, like I said, that first firefight was so underwhelming. I'm just like, that's it? Wow, like cool.
You just jinxed yourself.
Well, I did, but I have a running joke, and it's always been kind of like my model of my squad. And later on when I'd become an NCO, and it'd always bring hope to my soldiers, and they would never believe me, but I always tell them, I was like, hey, I want you to let you know, since my first deployments, I joined the Army, I am the most unluckiest infantryman you'll ever meet. And they'll be like, what? I was like, you will see. My luck will save us. Not in the good way, but we'll be okay. And it's happened plenty of times. Firefight we got, we were just doing a dismounted patrol. And this was the first time I was actually boots on the ground. I'm in the weapon squad, so I'm holding the 240. We take fire. Dudes start shooting. We run up with the guns. I trip. I eat shit hard. Fall on the ground. Shot missed me. My AG told me, he's like,
you are lucky.
My AG even told me, he's like, man, when I saw, he's like, because he breaks down slow motion. He's like, all I see is this round and you fall and it just goes bink. And then, we low crawled and made it to the car. But he's like, luckiest dude, unluckiest dude.
So you never got actually injured in Iraq?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That would be my second deployment.
So that's what I was going to ask next. So if you had any kind of injuries in your first deployment?
First deployment, no. Like I said, we got shot at. We did get blown up once coming back into the fob. A mortar round hit our MRAP, and we got the first. So like I said, we started in Camp Victory, but we lost that detail to the general because his actual. So at that time period, now I'm looking back at it, and I understand how the Army works. But at that time period, 10th Mountain was split in between Iraq and Afghanistan. So the general's actual PSD unit was with someone else in Afghanistan. So it was really weird. So we took over until he was able to move over there. So we lost that kind of mission in Camp Victory, and they would end up moving us down south to the border of Kalsu, where we would work hand in hand with the Royal Army. And it was only the Royal Army. I want to say it was a platoon of Marines and us. That was all that was there, and all they had for their perimeter was a chain link fence. But yeah, so we got blown up coming in an MRAP first gen. Nothing happened. I was surprised. Like
some of the nicest guys. Those British guys, they were pretty nice guys when I met them too. I don't know.
They let you play with all their weapons.
Yeah,
they were pretty just straightforward. But yeah, that was my first deployment. The worst thing I got was a concussion. That's probably the worst thing.
I think we all got that.
Yeah,
dang mortars, man.
Mortars. Yeah, and like that was also the time. What was that? God, I can't remember that. What were the
You're not talking about MLRS, are you? M109 A6s.
What are the C Rams?
Oh, okay.
Those I've never knew what a C-RAM was until one went off and I was within 5 feet of it.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
That'll blow you back.
That'll scare you, wake you up.
It does.
Yeah. So my first point was, I would say it wasn't bad. We lost one or two dudes. One dude was in our second platoon, and the other guy was actually it's really sad. He was from another company and he came to us just because he needed time off. He was having internal issues there. I don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know. I was a Joe.
Yeah.
Went out on one patrol and they didn't come back.
Did you have any close friends that might have gotten hurt or killed while overseas deployed?
No, for not my first deployment. First deployment, we lost dudes coming back, but boots on ground. But that's a different story. My first one, I think the biggest injury was that guy we got, and we really barely even knew him. I want to say his last name was Hunter. Like he literally was with us for a week, and he was just there to cool down. He was going to help us out with manpower, and second platoon took him. They went on a patrol. They got hit by it was a VBID, and we were on QRF that day. That's the only reason I know. So that was the first actual time too I actually saw a blown up body, which is pretty insane. And I was surprised because it seems unreal. Like when you see like Hollywood makeup stuff, that's what it looked like to me. I remember cutting out and we're pulling our 360 security and there's like brain matter right next to me. And I'm looking, it just looked fake.
It does, right? Doesn't it? It's weird. It's surreal. Like you're looking at it going, no, there's no way that's real. But you're thinking it's some Hollywood set, or something like that, but it's not.
Yeah, it was kind of, like I said, it didn't phase me then until later on. And I just started thinking, like, oh, that could have been me. Yeah, that's when it really gets to you.
That's the type of stuff I don't tell my family. Anybody in my family, like the stuff I saw. I might tell them what I might have done, but even then I still keep it to myself.
I'm the same way. Even ask my wife, like I'll tell her, like, oh yeah, I had to tell the time we got blown up, but I was like, I was okay. She's like, well, what was the experience? I was like,
Yeah, I had to pick up brain matter and actually hold it in my hands and put it in a little bag. But I'm not going to tell her that.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely
because
not.
you know how weird that sounds when you're
Burnt
telling somebody.
bodies. I tell everybody,
I know.
like I said, when I was in Iraq, that first deployment, you know, it was very strict, the rules. You wouldn't let anybody in your convoy. Nobody. Car came in, they got lit up by every single weapon up. And it was just a woman and children. Like, I hate admitting it, but like there was a dude in there. We don't know if their intentions were to hit us or anything.
You never know.
But they got lit up and they looked like Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
Burnt, it was horrific. And you just see that and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It's rough. And I was like, that's something I don't like to really tell people, you know.
That's one of the things that the recruiters never talk about. Because they don't tell you, because they tell you you're going to experience some stuff, but that's the stuff you can't prepare for.
Oh no!
When you see the body of a dead child, and even thinking about it now, in Iraq, when I saw this little school there was a brand new school that was built by the military. Somebody threw a grenade in there, killed a bunch of children on the first day. We went there to basically clean up pick up the bodies, and seeing this father and mother holding the jacket of the child in their hands, bloody jacket, and holding onto it, the blood smearing on their face. It's like, it's so unreal. You don't realize it's real because you're thinking, there's no way this is real. You're not, it's like Hollywood. There's no way. But the recruiter is not going to tell you that.
And it's hard even if you're prepared for it. Like they even try to prep us
you can be as prepared as you want.
Absolutely.
You're not going to be prepared. Do you get emotional thinking about the stuff that you've seen?
Sometimes, honestly, I always tell everybody it's so weird. I can like talk about it sometimes, especially like if I know like you kind of understand where I'm coming from.
Yes.
But I could still feel my heart like start beating a little fast, and I have to tell myself, okay, it's over. You know, we can't do anything. Like I said, I've seen little kid bodies. We've not proudest moments, but we've mowed down a kid before. He was in the way. He shot at us, but it was part of our SOP. And you know, and the kid he had to be, I think he was 12 or 13 years old, a little bigger kid. But at the end of the day, you know.
Do you have any funny moments, interactions with these little kids in Iraq?
Oh, absolutely. They love soccer. And that was the biggest thing for us. Like we would just destroy them in soccer. You got grown men playing kids. Like, but and that's the thing I tell everybody, as much as I like telling my stories or I keep to myself, I try to tell them the good parts of it. Like, you don't understand, there's a lot of good we did out there. Like those local villages had nothing about security. It's a dog eat dog world. And you can have a family of 5 and some guy comes in and is like, I'm taking your wife and kids. They're taking them by any means necessary up until we set up, borders around their towns, train their military.
All the ins and outs were blocked off. I know
schools, like we're teaching them stuff, and like people don't talk about that as often. Like all the humane missions, you don't, and it's sad. And you're like, I remember pulling 24-hour guard while they were building. It's sad. They're putting up giant cement T barriers for the new school that had just been built because that place takes a lot of mortar fire.
Yep, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, all the great things that I remember there were towns that my brigade, when we were into towns that had no electricity ever.
Yep.
They never had electricity. They would use like sticks and light sticks on fire, and they would use that as light. And I'm like, holy crap, this is Iraq. It's freaking 2003. Why do they not have electricity now? And then we gave them electricity for the first time. They even celebrated by shooting into the air. And then, of course, my unit thought we were getting attacked.
We got called out for a lot.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're like, no, they're just celebrating that we gave them electricity. It's like, oh wow, but it sounds like they're shooting at us, so we don't know.
No, and that's why today when people ask me, I try to focus on the good. I was like, yeah, we had some combat mission stuff happen, but there's a lot of good things we did as well.
I agree.
That people don't see.
I agree. So, we have 10 minutes left of our show.
I know that went by super quick,
doesn't it? The time.
I have so many stories I can go. My second deployment is my funnest deployment because we closed Iraq down. But we'll skip through that. We can try to get some more stuff.
I was just going to ask you basically what your thoughts are on veterans and what the newer generation would. Just what your thoughts are on the newer generation of kids that are coming up and growing up. What would you tell them? What it means to be a veteran? What it means for somebody to sacrifice their life, their time, their humanity for a country that sometimes doesn't respect them as much as they should be deserved.
I'm going to I always, try to think about it myself coming out from a young teenager. And if I can go back and tell myself, I know I'm just like, oh no, you're wrong. I'm right. That mentality. But if I could tell them anything, I want to tell them that no matter what you're going through right now, what the world may seem, you have the best chance of success here. And if you go to see the other countries where we've been, and even other countries like Canada, even the ones next to us, you will appreciate what you have here. And you may not think about it, and no, don't. And this is a weird part. Like I told you, I still don't feel like a veteran because I still feel fairly young. And I said, I don't know where I sit on the table is what I tell everybody, but I tell people like, you don't have to go thank a veteran. Like, yes, go thank a veteran, but you don't feel obligated to, because even to this day, I feel kind of when someone's like, "Oh, thank you for your service," I'm just like, "Oh, thanks for your support." Like it just feels weird and uncomfortable. But I tell them the way you can thank them is carrying that torch on. And not all people are meant to serve. If you want to serve, go serve. You are the next generation that's going to keep that will alive. So my biggest pointer to the younger generation is this is a country worth fighting for. Freedom is huge. Like, do something about it. Don't just be about it. Don't go say something about it. If you want to honor anybody, do the right thing. And the right thing is not necessarily just joining the military. It could be tons of other stuff, but be proud that you are an American. Be proud of the sacrifices that everyone laid out for you. And you're going to be a more successful person.
I agree. So you go through your deployments.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get married in between these deployments? Did you meet the love of your life in between these deployments?
I'll have to say that or she'll kill me.
Oh, you have to.
I'm just kidding. I love her too. My wife, Mandy. She's been with.
I was forced to marry her.
I was forced to. She was issued to me on CIF.
Yeah.
No. It's I met her. We got married. We have 4 kids now.
4 kids.
Yeah,
are they like your little squad, your little firing squad?
Yeah, that's the joke I make. Anytime I was like, well, are these your kids? Like, this is my fire team, actually. This is my oldest. He's my rifleman. Okay. This is my second oldest. She's our 203 one. This little stout one is the saw gunner because he's the little big boy.
Yeah, yep.
And this youngest one, he's the rear. He's my other rifleman, but he's in the rear because I can't trust him to be alone. He has to be arms length.
Yeah, the troublemaker. Yeah, the kid you want to keep reeling back because he's super. Oh,
you don't know you don't know where he's gonna go. But yeah, I have 4 of them, and I love them to death. They're all amazing. So my oldest is 14. Daughter just turned 11, which honestly, that's the only. I love my kids are growing, but every time my daughter turns a year older, I just I find a new gray hair. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm not even. I'm like,
hey, buddy, you're gonna get there.
Oh yeah, they're coming. They're coming. And then my next one is 7, and the baby's 4.
Oh no, that's cute. So how long have you been married now?
Oh, way to put me on the spot. No, I'm just kidding.
That's what I'm here to do. I'm pretty
sure
that you're on your hip.
So we're 9 years. We've been together 13. December 19th.
We'll say that's what it is. We'll
Shit.
say that's what it is.
Oh my
god! Just to keep your nads inside.
Oh, I've been pretty good. Hey, I'm not gonna lie. You can ask my wife. I'm a low key pretty good romantic guy when I have to be. I do. And honestly, people ask me, "Well, what do you do to keep the marriage going?" I was like,
"That's what's funny." I was going to ask you next. What kind of things do you do with your wife to kind of keep it going?
I just do random stuff sometimes. Sometimes I'll just be like, "Let's go out and do this," and it could be a total fail. Like when we just talk shit about it, well, that was horrible. We're never going back. But no, I just pull stuff out, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
Did the military change your mentality when you got out? Like when you got out in 2020, did you feel like you were a different person?
Absolutely. I'm still getting used to being a civilian. I tell everybody, I was like, being in the military for about 12 and a half years, almost 13, you're told what to do, who to talk to, who to address, you're on P's and Q's the whole time. But when you're a civilian, you have freedom. This is something people take for granted. If I wanted to, I can be like, well, thanks for inviting me over. I'm out. And I could leave this radio show right now. You can't stop me.
Nope.
And it's something that you have that you
should
use.
Be out of here, really. If you think about it, you're from California. And so that kind of.
I think Texas is going to benefit well for me being here.
Yes, I believe you should be in Texas.
Yes. But no, so I tell everybody, you take for granted that and having that. But I think also knowing that the military gave me that discipline to keep that, keep me in check, help me out is just the greatest feeling ever.
So you really you have a lot of appreciation for it.
Oh, everything I always tell everybody. So I don't want to say I have a split personality, right? But there's Victor before the Army, just a young kid, naive to the world. He had hopes and dreams, just wanted to bring honor to his family. Then you had Private Martin, Sergeant Martin, and that makes up who I am. Like all my quirks, my good, my bad, my ugly, my skills. Like that's me. And now you hear that? That was just me.
Yeah. No, it's the microphone.
And now I'm civilian Victor Martin, and it's still kind of weird because I'm still trying to find out who I am. Like I know everything all of it is me, but I still feel works. I'm very, like all my habits are from the military. I still carry a gallon of water around everywhere I walk. I'm still trying to work out every morning before it has to be at this time.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, you still have them. A lot of people have the mentality. I get you. Like, do you have your bed made every time you get up?
I got to make my bed the first thing.
That's how it is with me.
I go to the store and like I know it drives my wife crazy sometimes, and I try and I hope she understands me. I know we get into it sometimes, but you can't just send me to the store to go shopping. You need to give me a list. You give me a mission. I'm in and I'm out. I cannot
I'm
it's
the
like
same way. I'm telling you, I swear to God, you're a brother from another mother.
dry. And I'll tell my wife, she's like, why are you just getting so upset? Like, we've been in this grocery store for 30 minutes and we've gone up and down this aisle like 3 times already. We've passed it. If we would have just clearly swept it, we would have found everything.
Nice. That's awesome. So we got a couple more minutes.
Okay.
I was going to bring up a couple things. So if you can tell the people that are listening who you are as a person in one word before the military and one word of you after the military, what would that word be?
I'm just gonna do one word, and it's just perseverance incarnated.
When you were younger, you can say perseverance.
100%. Like I said, I was just that young kid, and I just was a good kid, but I always knew everything's gonna get better. I always had that mentality where no matter what, I'm just gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep going. I'm not gonna let adversity stop me. And then even through the military, I would learn like there's gonna be. I have a soldier who'd always tell me, "We're making memories, Sergeant," and he was right, because you'd have bad times, but then they'd become good times. And even today, and I tell my kids all the time, I hate the word I can't. I will never let my kid. I stop them before, like, I can't, Dad. It's like, no, you need to try. It's not that you can't, it's that you haven't tried yet. All right. And you will either fail and succeed, or you will fail, then succeed. So to me, I just persevere. You keep pushing. No matter what obstacles in your way, you keep pushing. That's just me.
Do you have bouts of depression or anxiety?
Oh, absolutely. I battle. There's times I get stuck in my head. Like, I could talk to you and like, does that guy really hate me? What'd I do to him? Why is he not picking up the phone? I can just start freaking out, overanalyze.
Will you answer the phone if one of your friends calls you?
100%.
Right.
There's a couple times where I'll get like really like paranoid, like, oh, something happened. He needs me. Like I had a soldier actually visit me. Trevor Bridges, he's in Mississippi now. He has a crazy story. I love him to death. He's actually I called him my son, but great soldier, right? The gung-ho kid. But he called me once and I just picked up and he came visit me. But it's like, if he needs anything, I'm like, what do you need, man? I'm here for you. But yeah, I still keep them all. I try to keep up with, especially my last squad. I think that's the one I close. Not that I hate any other of my soldiers. I love all my soldiers, no matter how bad they were, because they all contributed something to me. But my very last squad that I got to lead before my injury and being medically discharged from the Army, I really hold close to me. Like, I follow them. I'm always there. Like, now they're all staff sergeants. Yeah. One of them is a ranger. He got
damn.
Oh, he's high speed. And I remember taking him to his first board and he was nervous as hell.
Oh, I bet.
But I was like, Shover, you're gonna do amazing. Now he's a ranger. He went to air assault instructor. He got Pathfinder. The kid's high speed. But yeah, anytime I see their names, it lights me up again. I'm like, oh, I love these kids.
That's awesome. The reason I bring that up about depression is because there's a lot of people who are suffering right now, especially veterans. And, I'm sure you know the number 22 a day.
Yep,
22 veterans a day commit suicide by different means. And it's very sad to hear because, they're some of our strongest willed people and they still commit suicide. I've had friends who've committed suicide. People that were extremely close to me commit suicide.
I'm not proud. I went down that route once. I almost killed myself. Yeah, I was going through a lot, and I really want to say thank you to my son Matthew, just because the night before he came from school and he gave me a little monkey keychain because he's a little monkey butt, and I just remember going into the closet and I just wanted to blow my brains out, and I just saw that keychain, and it just like I saw his smiling face.
You're making me tear up here.
I'm trying to keep it together, but I was like, if I leave you, I fail as a dad. I can't. It literally stopped me, and I just remember coming, and it was close. Like I understand it. Your heart races. You get to it. Like you just think. I was so lost in it, and I look back at it. I was trying to explain to my wife. I'm like, I really don't know. My body was moving without me controlling. But yeah, it's crazy.
I wish we could talk a little bit longer. Maybe Tiffany and I can have this show be 2 hours one of these days.
Oh, I can come back.
Yeah, I know. Or you can come back. Thank you for joining me. Till next time.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.
Why have thousands of aspiring authors teamed up with Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book? Because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We